Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, so the title of my talk today is Success Through Error. Does ChatGPT error analysis help second language writing? I'm Arifi. My colleagues are Dr. Mohammed Ashraf, Dr. Hanadi Abdelsalam, Dr. Khadija Alaoui, and Dr. Maura Pilotti. So we are using ChatGPT. First of all, ChatGPT is what's called a large language model. A large language model is a type of artificial intelligence that is a text generation program. These large language models are trained on a huge corpora of both human and AI generated writing. And because of all of this training, they are able to generate information and responses to human prompts, including translations, full essays, different genres. They're semantically correct and they're grammatically correct. And the thing is, they rely on machine learning and neural networks for continual self-improvement. So the more we interact with them, the better their own writing and output becomes. So how can we use ChatGPT to teach writing to English as a second language learners? So often people who are instructors of English will look at ChatGPT as a means of cheating, committing plagiarism. However, everything can be used as a tool. So one way that we can use it as a tool is to use the output to provide some examples of how to better produce writing, particularly for students for whom writing in English is not their first area of training. So one thing you can do is have it present a paragraph and have it present a proper topic sentence, supporting sentence, and details in the correct order. ChatGPT and other text generative AI programs are also able to produce essays in different genres. And because they are not perfect yet, because they are only learning from the information that is already online, which of course in and of itself is flawed, we are able to use it for error analysis. Error analysis is one way that we are able to teach writing and improve the writing skills of both native speakers and non-native speakers of any language. So error analysis in the past has been used basically on human-generated errors. But these human-generated errors are limited because we are automatized to know our language from birth. We don't necessarily recognize specific errors. So we may make paragraph structure errors because we've noticed this in our own students. We may make essay structure errors because we know these are things we explicitly teach. We also may make grammatical errors because, again, these are things we naturally teach. However, ChatGPT generated errors are unnatural. They are surprising, and things that are surprising tend to attract students' attention. There are two main forms of errors by these generative artificial intelligence programs, such as ChatGPT. And one of these is called perplexity. Perplexity means sentences tend to be extremely predictable. The same types of sentence structures are used throughout. There's no variation like you would find in most human-generated text. The other feature is called burstiness. Now, burstiness is when the same word is used over and over and over. Whereas in human-generated text, we tend to have a little bit more variety to explain different concepts. Now, the great thing about using these type of AI as an error analysis measure is that we can also show how these programs, their output is extremely dependent upon the specificity of the prompt that is used. So we can show that they are extremely direct in their responses, which explains a way that our students should avoid using these types of programs for completing their assignments. So now in our present study, we had two groups, a control condition and a treatment condition. The control condition used human-generated error detection exercises, whereas the treatment condition used ChatGPT-generated error detection exercises. These participants were tested in 2 consecutive semesters. They were all female freshman students at a Saudi Arabian university that uses an American curriculum. They're all moderate to proficient English language users, and they were all enrolled in one of 8 sections of an introductory academic writing class tailored for English as a second language students. They were all taught by the same instructor, and this instructor was bilingual in both English and Arabic. You'll notice that the groups were relatively similar in number, 112 students in the control condition, which was used first, and then 101 students in the treatment condition, which were the ones that were taught by Chatgpt generated error analysis. Now, of course, before we can do any sort of essay writing with English as a second language learners, we had to have some preparation. We had to instruct them on differences between English and Arabic. So for example, in Arabic, we have a rule called subject drop. You mention the subject at the beginning of the paragraph and don't have to use pronouns or any other sort of referent throughout the rest of the paragraph. Of course, we know that in English, that is not applicable. So first we spent about a week working on that. Then there were 2 weeks of instructions on the 3 major components of an academic essay: how to write different types of introductions, different types of body paragraphs and their appropriate structure, and then different types of conclusions. And then, of course, how to fit them all together in an actual essay. For our error analysis, both in the human-generated condition and in the treatment condition where we use Chatgpt-generated errors, we gave students errors in a 5-paragraph essay. So a 5-paragraph essay has an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Students were given 15 minutes to read the passage and find the errors themselves. Then they discussed these errors in class and worked on correcting these errors in class. Of course, the discussion was then instructor-led when certain errors were not discovered by the students themselves, and students were directed to correct these errors. And again, the goal of error analysis in a writing class is to prevent students from making these errors in their own writing by making them aware of them in this original analysis. So I just want to give you a brief example of some human-generated text. I would like you to notice how in the first sentence, there is an error in punctuation. It begins with a question word how, yet ends with a period. You'll notice in the second sentence, there is missing both a subject and a verb, smells of trees and beautiful green. You'll also notice that there are a lot of tense differences that are incorrect. For example, I am happy because my family all is relaxed. You'll also notice that there are very few descriptive words used, very few adjectives, even though this was an example of a descriptive essay. Beautiful is repeated, and beautiful also is found in the prompt. This is very common among second language learners in this particular academic environment. Now with Chatgpt generated errors, these errors are, again, unintentional. They are surprising. They draw the student's attention. Of course, for any sort of AI any AI production, you must be very careful with the prompt. So the prompt for this paragraph that you see below is write a 5-paragraph essay describing halloumi cheese, which is a Mediterranean grilling cheese with which all the students are very familiar. Include an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion, which you will again note is what I said is the structure of a standard 5-paragraph essay. So if you look at this, you will notice that it begins with a rich history and production. Halloumi cheese has a rich history. This, of course, is not correct, but it is incorrect in a way that a human would not necessarily have thought of. There are some run-on sentences where there are commas used to connect more than 3 clauses. However, it's not, again, these are constructed in a correct method, but just in a way that is incorrect with the norms of academic writing. There are also several different adjectives used, but these adjectives are not actually descriptive of the cheese itself, which is the actual point of the prompt. So for this essay, for this tab, pardon me, for this experiment, we had two groups, the control condition and the treatment condition. And we had each write a 5-paragraph descriptive essay after this error analysis and, of course, the language training. These essays were excluded if there was a 15% or more match of potential plagiarism of both internet and institutional databases. And we also ran them through certain AI detection programs. And we excluded anything that was considered to be potentially more than 40% AI generated. To analyze the features of these actual essays, we used the text evaluator software, which was created by the Educational Testing Service. This is the same organization that creates the GRE and the SAT, so it is quite reliable. This measure also returns different features, such as measures of quantity and measures of writing quality. So some of the quantity measures that it provides are the total number of words in the essay, the total number of sentences in the essay, and the average number of words per sentence. The quality measures are very interesting. It provides the percentage of low-frequency words used. Now, low-frequency words are the words that students are less likely to have heard in their everyday life. They are the less common words. It also shows us the percentage of concrete words used. These are words like nouns and verbs, words that can be more visualized. They are processed more quickly than abstract concepts such as solidarity, liberty, and even love. It also shows us grammatical complexity and lexical cohesion, which is essentially how well one sentence flows into the other. Syntactic complexity is basically grammatical complexity, and it is extremely important for certain reasons. One of these is the average length of the sentences. The average length of sentences is very indicative of whether a student is writing in a more academic style that is more closely aligned with that of a native speaker. It also gives us the average number of modifiers per noun phrase, meaning essentially different adjectives and adverbs, which is extremely important in the genre of a descriptive essay. It also gives us the mean number of dependent clauses per sentence, which essentially is a form of sentence complexity and length. And the memory load imposed by varying grammatical structures, which is, again, going back to different types of complexity and how well we must remember the beginning part of the sentence to understand the end. Just want to go over a little bit with lexical cohesion, because this is an extremely important feature that is often lacking in second language writing. This is the extent to which the text is a clear and coherent message in which all the sentences flow together in a way that produces one understandable, clear, and concise meaning, as opposed to second language writing, which is often seen as just like an array of sentences that are not really directly connected. We also can see the measure of, oh goodness. Are you still able to see my screen? I'm so sorry. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello, I'm listening to you.
All right, I just wanted to make sure it was still working. I'm not sure what happened with my computer.
Yes. So, but I have to announce that you have about 3 minutes left,
All right.
right?
So
Okay.
let's just quickly go through the outcomes, the treatment group versus the control group. So the treatment group produced a higher number of sentences in the entire essay. They produced shorter sentences, which means fewer run-on sentences, and more low-frequency words, meaning more words that are less likely to be encountered in everyday life. The importance of the higher number of sentences is that this is closer to the academic writing conventions of native speakers of English. This also can possibly indicate that they have more confidence in their own writing. After using text that is generated by artificial intelligence and having worked through it themselves and identified these errors, they may then be more aware of the fact that they as human beings have the capacity to produce better, higher quality writing. This also possibly indicates more comfort with the genre, which again can go back to the surprising nature of the errors that are found in AI-generated text. And of course, with longer essays, the higher number of sentences, more information can be expressed than can be found in a shorter essay. The importance of shorter sentences, particularly with native speakers of Arabic, is that this is closer to the conventions of academic writing in native speakers of English. In Arabic, a paragraph may contain only one sentence with different clauses connected by periods, which in some ways serve the role of what we would consider to be the role of a period. And this indicates potential greater understanding of the concept of conciseness, being direct and short and to the point when writing academic English essays. The importance of low-frequency words means that there is greater diversity in the vocabulary, and it indicates the importance of reducing repetitive wording. This is something that is pointed out with the feature of burstiness in Chatgpt output. Because there is more low-frequency words, there are more complex vocabulary words, and this improves the overall quality of the writing itself. Now, last thing I want to talk about is some quick implications for writing instruction. So of course, as we've discussed before, previous research has shown that error analysis is an extremely useful tool for all writers. And of course, that the types of errors generated by AI differ from those produced by humans. Humans produce intentional errors. AI errors are, of course, unintentional. Now, I want to talk briefly about what's called the Gestalt principle. The Gestalt principle is the fact that the human brain wants the world to make sense. When we are exposed to something that is unexpected, we have increased brain activity. These unusual errors and this increased brain activity may produce greater student engagement as they are more interested, and this may possibly improve their memory of what is correct and incorrect to help them avoid these errors. And the last thing I want to just say quickly is that instructors must monitor adaptations of technology. Chatgpt came out in November of 2022. Now we have AI Author, we have Genia AI, we have all kinds of different AI writing programs, and we need to be aware of what they are able to do and figure out how we can use them as important tools in the classroom. Thank you very much for your time.